Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
That guy was a good cameraman.
Hang on for dear life. Oh boy, that's not where that was supposed to be. Looks like this is falling a little bit. There we go. There's Kristi and Devon Germain joining us in studio for this one, episode number 380, as we get everything up to speed and off and running. Appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us for a little while. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. I can't believe, as I was putting this together earlier today, I can't believe that we're looking at number 380. I mean, I know we say this every week, and it's probably getting a bit old, but it just stuns me. And then
That's just in studio episodes.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is just the studio episodes. Yeah, that's also interesting too. But we got a good show lined up for tonight. Happened to have some friends in the neighborhood, which was kind of fun. Kristi and Devon were passing through the. How did you describe it? The red sleigh was on the way back to the border.
Yep, the red sleigh is bringing Jeffy Fab Farm parts.
Excuse me.
Bring them back to all the good girls and boys.
How interesting does that get at the border when you're trying to cross over?
Oh, it's actually easy when you go through commercial and you have your paperwork in order. As long as it's all in order, then there's no problems ever.
Paperwork's in order, you pay tax, they let you go. As long as they get their tax money.
Yeah, they don't.
Exactly.
It's all about the money. It doesn't matter what government is; they just want your money.
Exactly.
Let's take the guesswork out of it, I suppose, huh?
Yeah.
And you guys were part business, part for fun?
Yeah,
right?
we were down there. We went and visited a few of our friends. Got to see Andy, Anderson, Taco. Got to hang out with him and Claudia. Got to hang out with Scotty and Chris King. So it was nice to kind of be down and just
Have a little bit of downtime for once, which is nice.
feel a little, normal.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was 80 degrees in Virginia Beach
Oh,
on
yeah.
I was ready to
Saturday.
go swimming in the ocean.
I was happy with it being 55 on Saturday when we were hunting. I don't need that 80 stuff.
It was
Don't you
great.
want a little bit of snow when you're hunting, though?
No.
No?
I'm old. I just, I like it. I mean, in all honesty, the temperature doesn't. The cold temperature doesn't bother me if it's really windy, which it ended up getting that way Saturday. But no, I've been lucky. My kid's a pretty good shot, so when he shoots, they drop, and we don't have to track them, so it doesn't matter.
I like this weather because we can still have outdoor recess, and it's one day closer to not having to shovel.
That's true. And you don't have to shovel rain.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that.
It's so I mean, you guys have a lot going on, and not just simply because you're moving parts back and forth from down in Virginia, Jeffy's Fab Farm. The season has quickly spiraled into a life of its own. You guys are picking things up. I know we talked about this a while ago about what's the limit, what's the goal, where do you want things to end up, and it strikes me that maybe you've already gotten past the point of your expectations.
Yeah, expectations came pretty quick. We never anticipated to be as busy as we were our first year. We expected, I think we had, maybe 5-6 shows. We were like, oh, we'll break in with that. And then that turned into 15 really quick. And 7 of those were all standalone shows, which is 5 times the amount of work.
5 times.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
5 times for me. She does more.
Yeah.
Hey, got busy in chat quick. There's Scott Kiefer checking in, Ryan Mitchell, Dustin Grader, and Jeremy Smith all checking in already. So let's go back before we dive into everything that's coming up. You got the chance to go to Blizzard Bash for the first time this year.
Yeah, and it blew me away. As soon as that first car came through the tunnel, and you feel it in your chest, you're a kid in a candy store. It's the best thing ever.
So what does that mean for next year? There's all this craziness about you're going to build a car and go out there. And,
Oh yeah, every show I've ever been to watch once, the next year I run it. So we'll see what's going to happen, what one and done heats they have. I'm not going to do one of those teams because I'm not up to that par. But I definitely got to do a one and done.
You could do a limited world team.
I don't have a team.
to get to Kansas.
But like
That's a
one
lot
and
of
done would be great
commitment.
because that track is huge,
Right.
and like you could get moving, which I love that idea. Like you can get Illumina going in like a front wheel drive class or something, you'd be flying.
We've seen that happen before, and the fact that those cars are so light and all of the mass is over the front tires already, the way that they hook up and they can take off,
Oh yeah.
they get to moving.
Yeah.
Oh, when they were rolling Camaros going forward, that was the best.
Yeah.
You don't see that often.
Yeah, no, they definitely get after it out there. Yeah, I saw not long after you guys, Devin will be at Blizzard Bash next year, and I was like,
you have
he'll
to.
fit right in.
And the funny thing is
that's
every
perfect.
text message I got about how amazing Blizzard Bash was or how awesome Blizzard Bash was, all I kept thinking in my mind is, okay, this is going to cost me. This is going to cost me. This is going to cost how much?
Well, you'll get a weekend vacation. It'll be
Yeah, it'll be
great.
beautiful.
You go down there, freeze. Oh, it's awesome.
Oh.
How fast the plaza sold out?
Yeah, it's like,
45 minutes. The place was sold out.
Yeah,
Is
It
that what
doesn't
it
take
was,
long.
45?
I thought that was the number. That
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, every text message I got, I'm just like, okay, that's a dollar sign. That's a dollar sign.
It's worth it. It's worth it. You got to experience it.
And the funny thing is then I get messages from TJ. Because TJ
just messaged it right
did
here.
he?
Yeah.
See? So
He's a bad influence.
TJ and Devin get together with these wild and crazy ideas, and then all of a sudden, TJ and Devin are going to drive. Devin's going to drive to Maryland, hook up with TJ. They're going to both load up and drive across
We'll
to
take a 2-car
Kansas.
and we'll just take shifts driving.
And Kayla and I are like, "You guys go. We're flying."
That sounds fun.
The girls are gonna fly, make it nice and easy.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
only need 2 more cars now.
yeah.
Yeah,
only.
you're halfway to a team.
Yeah.
You guys want to join, Chris?
No.
Want to go in a car?
I have to buy a lot more parts to go to limited welding. I'm spending enough as it is.
Compact team.
I still have to buy a lot of parts.
Well, if you quit breaking them, you won't have to buy as many.
See, Chris, all I'm hearing is money and money and money.
Exactly.
They print more every day.
That's what I hear.
Right?
Just they print it every day.
That's
You
what I
can
get
always
told.
make more money. If you got to put an extra shift in, you can always make more money.
Yeah, I mean, look at you're a funeral director. People are always dying to get in there. So I mean, there's you're in demand
Business
there.
is always there for you. You just got to go get it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you.
Eric Remington. TJ said that you can do a team, but nobody's insurance can cover him.
That's the issue.
We'll test Tim's insurance at Bash this year.
There you go.
That's one of those premonitions that we don't do that.
No, no.
Don't talk about the no-hitter. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
We don't need that. That's not. Yeah, we'll stay with. I have insurance on Devin.
With that thought, though, you should probably, I mean, if that is your goal out there in Topeka, getting a car that'll go as fast as possible, I'm wondering if they're going to have to put white doors on the cars again out there. That way you can see. You know what you're going for.
Yeah.
Tunnel vision. and
Yeah,
all that.
tunnel
I never,
vision.
I never go for a door ever.
Huh?
I'll never go for a door.
I know. You go
But
for
like-
a wheel, but the car won't.
No, I always go for the trunks because it looks cool.
Driving right to somebody's back seat does look good.
Like,
I don't think it does anything at all in the compacts, but it looks cool.
It
Guys
does.
like me love it. I
does.
really
Do you
remember-
do.
I
Do you
made
remember-
one hit where the rear strut touched the headrest of
Wait.
the car in one hit.
Do you remember that was the Trump car?
Yeah.
And Chris is
gosh.
like, that Trump car is now a true car because he had hit
Yeah.
it so
It
hard.
was a fresh Lumina one-shot junk.
You know
Yeah.
what?
I remember that on
Tony
the.
Burkhart was ready to do some business on the back of that Imperial. It knocked his own steering out, but boy, it looked cool when he ripped
Oh,
it
it
over.
Yeah.
was the best thing
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, the fact that it tore everything off underneath the car,
That's the
probably quite
unfortunate
what he
part.
was planning for.
It was
but
worth it.
yeah, it was
worth
that was a hell of a hit.
How loud was that trackside when that happened?
I don't know if it was louder because of the motors or just the crowd went absolutely nuts. Like, as soon as the crowd went crazy, like it definitely was louder than the motors.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm too quiet.
Well,
Get the new,
yeah, they.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, the
There we go.
one time back in the day when we were there, Russ came up, and all of a sudden I had a feeling behind me, and I looked, it was Russ. I'm like, you want a seat? And he's like, yeah. So I said, hey, do you mind if I go down there? And he's like, no, go ahead. So I went and stood on the wall out there, and it was, I mean, because when we're in the booth out there, we're pretty shielded from the noise, and we're ways away from the cars. But man, you get down on that wall,
Well, when we had half glass,
Yeah.
Remember the years when we were in an open booth and it
Yeah.
was just half glass and you couldn't hear a thing?
Yeah.
And the sound that was pumped into our headsets included all the ambient so that we could hear one another. Our mics were picking up the track noise, so the track noise was doubled.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, I mean,
and we were
it was-
deaf by the end of the week. It was great.
Man, you could hear anything. Now they've done all those renovations. We're behind double plate glass and everything. I mean, you can't. It's just like being in here. You can't hear anything.
Yeah,
Well, when
so
you
to say.
came down at Bash for Cash
Yeah.
in May and stood at the wall
Yeah.
with me and hung out, it's a totally different feel.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
people don't understand what it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
being right on trackside.
Yep.
And they don't understand, first of all, how you have to have your head on a swivel all the time because
Yeah.
things are going on all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But that feeling in your chest and that feeling on the ground and it just that vibration
Feel
and
the
s-
motor in your
yeah.
chest. That's
Yeah.
the best.
And that's when there's hits, and I mean we're up. Well, we're probably what
6,
8
7
feet
feet, yeah.
off the track,
At least.
and they hit the wall hard enough where it'll shake the ground where you're standing. And people complain about there not being enough big hits at Bash, and I'm like, you got to come stand where we are because
Yeah.
there is stuff shaking. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, you get to these big shows and you don't realize, because. And that's, with the harder builds, that's some of the problems is the cars don't bend like they do.
So they don't see the
Yeah.
bend.
You see the driver flying around
Yeah.
here that right on
yeah.
the wall.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy, but, no, it'll definitely, definitely fit right in out there. It's,
I
we
got to
could
go through
have-
that tunnel at least once.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I couldn't imagine doing that. That's got to be pretty cool.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Walking through it is cool.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Just when you walk through it.
Well, remember the one year when we'd go down on the track and do our intro and then go back up to the booth, and just being down there for that was like, holy cow, this is, it was amazing. But yeah, that's like a mecca out there, man. That's definitely one
So
you
how
got.
much do you have to build to get back into the V8 game?
Oh.
Well, I bought most of it already for my Bash car because I've never really been heavy into the V8 stuff. So a lot of my parts I've always just built my own. But when I won that raffle car from Ingram, I ended up getting a good drive line, so I had that.
Did he?
But now getting into the heavier stuff, well, you need a bigger and better diff, and you need more protection, and now you need tires, you need tie rods, you need ball joints. Like, yeah, it's pretty quick.
Devin has just spent his entire Christmas, birthday, Christmas 2022, Christmas 23,
I
Christmas
bought like
24.
an entire drive line.
Yeah, so he's in Topeka with Jeff, and they're, talking and deciding what they're going to do and what Devin needs to run. And after Jeff's run at Buried Alive and his alcohol, 5.3 LS and how that sounded, and I think a lot of it reverberated off the mountains, but,
No, I've seen it in person. and
Yes.
it's that loud.
So Devin decides he wants that. And Jeff's like, well, if you want it, come and get it, run it, not a problem, right? So Devin decides, no, I'm going to build my own. I'm going to build one with.
So whatever you have,
Yeah.
I want it.
He goes, you duplicate what you have and send it to me, and I'm going to put it together. So Jeff and Devin have decided to do that. But on top of that, with that engine, now he needs a Roy Turner diff, and he needs some Ruts Fab, tires, and
You need the best of the
yeah.
best.
So
So does that mean your guard motors for sale?
it
I mean,
actually
it could
may
be. It's
be.
sitting in a friend's garage right now. Once I
Interesting.
went to the LS, I don't know, I can't go back.
It's that Fab Farm power. It's amazing.
Interesting.
Well wishes out to Jeremy Gardner.
Yes,
anyway.
I
Yes.
forgot about that.
Hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah, I saw his wife put a post up the other day.
There's a whole bunch of birthdays that I've blanked on now. I know Danny Ort's birthday's today, and there's a whole slew of other ones that I can't remember.
Yeah, I think Daniel Ort's like 25 now. Something like that. I don't know. Damn kids.
I just got to keep Jeff and Devin away from each other.
He loves my money.
Well, I was kind of thinking about that. It's like one of the worst decisions that could possibly be. Put those two together. It's like that's
Right?
you're just lighting money on fire.
Great for us. For who? For me and Jeff. Kristi, on the other hand, she suffers.
Yeah, I will definitely admit that Jeffy's LS motors are very impressive. They sound good. They run good. When Klinger had the one at Iron City Nationals,
Yeah, Iron City.
that was he had a I think it was a 5.3 in alcohol, and that thing was just, oh man, was it impressive. And yeah, I can definitely, like, I've never driven one, but with talking with Jeffy, it's definitely, my Zach and I have been talking, and you know, we may have to try one out before we call it quits. Because, I mean, and the thing with the LSs is, you know, if you don't take the motor apart and do any real work, I mean, you can have an amazing running LS motor relatively cheap.
So cheap, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I've you know, I sent Jeffy a text here.
It's not even expensive. Just
Right?
listen to the guys that want to
And
lie
what
about
you
their money.
spend, you can
Exactly.
reuse if you blow the motor up. You go get another motor,
Yeah.
plug and play, and you're ready to rock and roll
Yeah,
again.
and that's the thing. I mean, really, the most expensive, you know, stuff is the harness and stuff that you get from Jeffy.
Yeah.
I mean, the motors are basically a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
There's
they're
a lot of them around. But no, I've been very impressed with them. You know, the last show I ran, which was or no, that wasn't the last show. I ran it at Meltdown. It came down to two LSs, and I mean, they were screaming wide open, and then they let off the gas and they just sat there purring, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, that is so impressive.
And
Just
no matter how hot you get, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah. And that's when I went to Iron City this year. I got there. We were there early, and so I got to hang out and talk with Jeffy before, you know, he was mobbed by customers. It just, you know, the knowledge that he shares. It was.
If you could stick a USB
Oh,
in
my
his
goodness.
head and download it,
Oh my goodness.
the entire Derby world would be better off.
Yeah, it was neat just to sit there and listen, and you know what it actually takes to do it. It's definitely, you know, it's definitely a very impressive package, and
Yeah.
it really it is cheap for, you know, to get a top running Derby motor like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do like I said, you can do most of the work yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's building a pro stock car. He's on the team. I got in 40 seconds. Got them registered. So
Quick fingers.
hey, when you know how to like work the internet and get things pre-set and ready to go,
Not your first time around.
it's not my first rodeo getting them registered at a quick thing. So I was funny because he was out for dinner and his teammates were waiting to hear what was going on, and Devin messaged me. He goes, I heard it sold out. And I said, yeah, 45 seconds, it sold out. And he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll have to try and think of what else I'll have
Is
to
there
run.
compact spots left? Or?
Yeah. And then I'm like, but I got you in. And he's just like, so.
That's great.
Jeff's hanging out with us on the line. Jeff, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing okay. We're talking about how cheap LS engines are. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I just hooked up to my Bluetooth and I lost you for a second.
What happened? You just fell into the bottom of a lake or something?
I'm good. We're good now. I'm up. So,
We're talking
on
about
the phone.
we're talking about how you and Devin like to spend money.
I'm a pretty good facilitator. A lot of people's significant others hate me at certain points of the year.
So what I wish we had a video of Jeff, because because he's either welding or designing something right now or working a machine with his earbuds in with a phone stuck under his
Just because it's under his helmet.
on his helmet, and he's doing like 6 things at once. So Jeffy,
I'm actually designing a new steel rack for the shop.
Nice.
I was sitting in the office, waiting for time to go by, and idle hands are the devil's playground. So, it's a steel rack to hold about 4,000 pounds of extra material above the office to get some stuff up off the floor. So that's what I'm designing.
Gotcha. Chris is on the
That's what I'm
internet.
doing.
Yeah,
They were talking about Devin replicating your 5.3 LS.
Well, he was more than welcome to borrow it, but now he wants to keep one for 12 months a year. So pretty much everything in hand. A few things we got to build, new set of headers and a fuel system and some bits and pieces. But he's got a good swing of things, and he's going to open one up and change some parts and put it together. And now it's time to see if he can go to the next step.
I just want to see if he can get his front bumper as high as you did in Maryland. That's the next goal.
Well, the key with the Maryland car was two things: engine that wouldn't stop, three things: engine that wouldn't quit, heavy foot, and a rotten car. So I knew that
Rotten car.
I knew that was going to happen. So
It was like Canadian clean.
Yeah, I was just going to say I didn't think anything rotted in Virginia.
It was kind of soft, and it was supposed to be my 80s wire bash car from like 4 years ago. And then it just never got built, and it sat at the farm, and it just got rougher and rougher and rougher. And I was putting my dig your own grave plates on as I'm hammering, more and more stuff's piling up on the floor, and I went, oh, this can't be good. And I put it all the way up on the lift, and the whole entire driver's side box is gone. I sent Jacob some pictures. I said, I'm going to rebuild this at a factory fitness material, and he's like, yeah, go to town. And I was like, this thing is going bad fast. So I used it up.
That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't think anything went bad down there.
I knew two things. I knew I could hold my foot to the floor and not have to worry about it, and I knew I wasn't going to break my transmission. So I knew whatever else happened. I had prepared for no steering. I had prepared for everything that I thought could possibly happen, and it worked out.
It's all about preparedness, I suppose, right?
Sometimes a little luck.
I still can't believe we're talking about how high that nose got. You know, that thing, it's become a thing of legend. You know?
It's the thing legends are made of.
Yeah. The nose on that thing.
It was pretty cool run. I needed a run like that. So.
You know, if you ran more than once every 4 or 5 years, cars wouldn't sit and rust so much.
True.
Well, I actually, in the stable right now, I've got a 75 four-door, 75 two-door GM that's clean. I've got a 73 wagon that's rotten body, but good chassis. I don't know where I'm going to take it. I've got a Buick, and I've got an Olds. For some reason, I ended up with this old iron, no bits. I don't know what I'm going to do or where I'm going to run, but I'll have fun.
Are any of those going to end up in Canada?
He can't say anything right now. He's spent enough money for, right now he's got to wait.
He's crossing his fingers, Jeffy.
I'm reminded of all those Facebook posts. I just hope nobody sells my Derby stuff. And I bought it for.
The thing is I'm the one who pays for it all. I'm the one who makes the deals on it. Well, with the exception.
Hard to hide it.
Yeah. Like, I'm the one who... it's funny because I get a text message from Devon, and it's a link to something. And it's like, can you get this for me? And then I'm the one who has to make the deal, or I'm the one who has to, unless it's like something that him and Jeff have cooked up. Then it's a little bit different, but...
all the cars, I just send them to her and say, here, give me this.
Yeah, then I text him and say, okay, you've got an appointment to pick it up at this time and this date, and this is the money. So, yeah, I know what they're worth. He has no clue. He has no clue.
He's the driver. That's,
Right.
He's like Hollywood. He just,
No, I got to do a lot of the work, too. I just don't buy the stuff.
Yeah. He doesn't buy
Jeff
this.
Gordon cared how much the 24 car cost to put on the track?
No.
Not a bit.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what he says.
You can make more money.
He can make more money.
They print it every day.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the United States a little too fast.
I have the most amazing spouse because she's been in motorsports longer than me, and she knows exactly what stuff costs.
Yeah.
So there's never an argument. She knows what stuff costs. There's never batting an eye because I can't even hold a candle to what it costs to build something that she drives. So that's I think the best part on the planet is don't tell my wife how much stuff costs, or what about this and what about that. And I remember when my engine went bad in Vegas, first thing out of her mouth is, you need a fresh spare on the floor no matter what. And I looked at her and I was like, I love you. It's so hard to compete with anybody else in that department because she's got me beat, and preparation is everything with racing, and you start doing that with Demolition Derby, it's a win-win. So.
But Jeffy, with your current schedule, I mean, you don't run enough to spend a lot of money. I mean, you're always in the shop making money, so I mean, she's kind of got the best of both worlds. She goes off and races, and you're always in the shop working. So I mean, you're not really spending much money.
No, but when there's no compromise if I need a part for me as well, whether it comes from me and we build it in the shop, or if I need a part for my car. Now there's no there's no, oh, maybe it'll be all right. It was a fresh transmission and a spare on the floor in case of the 11th hour, that one didn't work. So that's, I mean, if you hang around with Matt and Robin for any length of time, there is no, you know, there's no, oh, we'll get them next week. The car's going on the trailer, it's going to the track no matter what. Like, there's no quit. So, yeah, so even if I am building the 11th hour and even if I don't have enough time, we got it, you know, everything's got to be done right. So.
A little off the Derby subject, but is the drag car in the shop and getting gone through for next season yet?
New seat, sending, you know, restraints and stuff out for certification. We got to send the clutch can out for certification. Certain things, it's their year to get recerted. Basically, you know, give it a freshen up, tidy up some stuff we didn't get done when we built it the first time. And yeah, I mean, Easter weekend, we got to be ready and at the track and ready to go. So we got a lot of work to do. So, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. I didn't realize all that stuff went into that.
Yeah, we started our summer when we saw you guys at Bash when we had the rig there, and you guys got to see the car for a second. We left Saturday night and we were gone every weekend till the middle of August.
Jeffy, did you guys go out to PRI this year?
We didn't. With so much going on and being so busy in the shop, we decided to axe PRI, and those 4 days out of the shop is like a lot. I might as well be gone for a month. So we decided to axe that trip, and thankfully it wasn't weeks and weeks and weeks to get parts out, and we got all our Black Friday customers satisfied by within about 10 days. So that was huge.
Gotcha.
How much did you move out this week?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't even compute it anymore, to be honest with you. Let's put it this way. FedEx sends me donuts and thanking me for my patronage. We're busy. We're freaking busy.
Oh, we have an 8-foot box that's full to the brim of parts going up to Canada. So
I got my 2 wheel centers in. I'm pretty happy. Well, it was funny. We were Zach's home from college now till January, and we didn't get to run last year. The driver messed up and didn't get entered into Jeremy's show. And he's like, "Dad, we got to get the centers for our rims." And I said, "Yeah, I know." So then he went upstairs, and I got on Jeffy's website, and I'm like, "I better order these." So got them ordered because I would be surprised if we were putting wheel centers in this week and starting to get stuff ready. So.
Well, thank you for your business, Brian. I was happy to see your name come across the order sheet.
Well, you know, and it's funny because like I'd talked to Jeffy before, and I'd talked to him about getting, specific specific wheel patterns, and I never asked him what his wheel centers were. I never did any of that stuff. So I got on and I looked, and I'm like, "There's 4," and I'm like, "Hey, there are 3 of the 4 I need," or they're right there. So I just ordered them, but. I'd been wanting to, and I just hadn't gotten them. So it was, wheel centers this time. Maybe next time it'll be a wiring harness for an LS. We got to see what happens.
I'd be more than happy to wipe that other tattoo off your arm.
get that Mopar.
Well, it was funny. We were Zach and I were going over to Dad's tonight, and he goes, "Dad," he goes, "I think we should send one of our Magnums down to Jeffy and have him do all the stuff to it, put fire or fuel injectors in it, and da-da-da-da-da." And I'm like, "Who's going to pay for it?" And he's like, "Well, you are." And I was like, "Bud, I asked Jeffy what that would cost, and we aren't doing that." Not that it was, not that it's a bad price, but for the amount of Derby and I do, that ain't happening. I mean, but you can't, it would be a new product, Obviously, Jeffy would have to take a bunch of time to do it. It's not that it was, it's an expensive price, but for as much as I run, it wouldn't be worth it. But he's like, "Well, we got to find an LS," and I said, "I know, bud."
I'm fairly confident it's not going to have a whole lot of resale value either.
No, I get down to the Derby junk. But I got Jamie out to Alger just looking for an LS for me, and
swaying to the dark side.
I think just once, just maybe twice. I don't know.
Never go back.
Once you do it, you'll never go back, right, Jeffy?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, and I heard the comment earlier about Brian was admiring Klinger's setup. Just to clarify that is a bone stock work truck 4.8, valve covers not even off, on alcohol. So that's the baby of the family, with just some preventative maintenance done to it, and I had to beg him to let me take the oil pan down to make sure we didn't have any sludge or anything in it. He was like, "Do not touch it." So that is your basic, and my go-to has been the 4.8. Devin and Kristi can attest to this. My stock 4.8 in my black truck that I ran many times in Canada was literally a 300,000-mile Napa delivery truck takeout that I did nothing to and dropped it in there. And I've won with the truck. I've gotten mad bags with the truck, and it pushed a full-size 3/4 ton truck around with ease. Mm-hmm. So everybody's like, "Oh, that thing must be a 6-liter," and it's like, no, it's not. It's just the right combination. It's the right stuff.
Yeah, and it's that's something Jeffy taught me a lot about when we were down there in Iron City. He explained to me the horsepower they already have, and then he'd do a little this and a little that, and it wasn't anything extreme. It was all pretty interesting, pretty neat stuff, and no, I definitely am very impressed with them. I probably gonna have to try one before I hang the helmet up.
Well, that would be fun, right?
Yeah.
Sink your foot into that.
Oh yeah, and I will definitely sink my foot in that. But,
we have a lot of really cool collaborations with Jeffy coming up this coming year. We have our first ever Fab Farm Presents our Figure 8 team show. So we have a team show for Figure 8 cars coming up in July, which is pretty cool because it'll be a 3-on-3 heads-up bracket style, which has never been done before in Ontario or anywhere else that we're aware of.
Nice.
So all the Figure 8 guys are crazy, and there's like 64, or no, how many teams?
I think there'd be 64 cars.
64 cars in total racing Figure 8s in our team show.
Yeah.
So
that's very common for us.
Yeah,
for the Figure
8s are huge right now.
They do a Figure 8 at our hometown, and except it's like a double Figure 8 sort of, and it gets a few cars, but nothing like that. But I mean, like you look, and there's some pockets where Figure 8 is big.
Yeah, we have a huge following for Figure 8. Like if we have a show and there's no Figure 8, the drivers are messaging us. They're upset.
Yeah.
Wow.
We want to run this weekend too.
How many of them run their car twice? They run the Figure 8.
Oh.
And smash
There's some cars that have 40, 50 runs on them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They're crazy.
Well, they think we're crazy putting all the time into a derby car. Well, they put just as much into a Figure 8 car. Like some of the cages are amazing. Like they spend a lot of time on the wiring and all that. They're beautiful cars.
Yeah. So we'll have actually a bracketed style like Blizzard Bash.
Yeah.
We're going to take that and do a bracketed style Figure 8 3-on-3, and it'll be like Fab Farm Presents, and like we get to bounce a lot of really cool ideas off of Jeffy, and he bounces ideas off of us. So it's really neat to be able to kind of have Jeffy on board and helping as like our title sponsor for a lot of our shows, and that just like Impact and Fab Farm have always gone hand in hand. So to have them both together at all the shows, it's just such a win-win combination.
Is the season finalized at this point?
Our season is not finalized at this point. We're still like we just finished our season, and after the season we have a whole bunch of fairs that we've never worked with before contacting us and asking us to give them quotes and contracts and stuff. Right now, as it looks, we're probably going from 14 shows this year to close to 40 shows in 2022.
It's going to be busy. Hopefully the crew's ready for it.
Holy cow.
So
we do a lot of traveling too for these shows. Like the one weekend, I think we put 20 hours of driving in.
Yeah.
And it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was all over Ontario.
That is crazy.
You have to remember, like Jeffy said before, like where we come from, you can drive an hour
in any
direction, and you're hitting one of your local fairs, especially in the fall. So we have like so condensed down in southern Ontario, we have 30 fairs that need promoters to run their derbies between September and October.
Yeah.
So it's a busy fall.
Your season's crammed in offset to where most
Yes.
of the New York stuff is too.
Exactly.
New York is real
Heavy set in June and
to
July.
August,
Yeah.
Usually by Labor Day it's already wrapped up, but I think that's because of the state fair.
Yeah.
The state fair just basically tells
plus-
everybody you're done.
Well, I mean, you got to look at Canada. I mean, it's not fully thawed until somewhere, mid-August. So then they got like 2 months to get everything before it starts freezing again. So
That's right. Stay tuned for our sled dog derby that we're having.
Jason Sherman is in the chat, and like we said last week, Road Rage getting ready to amp up for 2022 as well. He said the Albany area has a lot of figure eight races.
Really?
And I don't remember the density down there. I mean, I just asked if it was at racetracks or if it was standalone shows. I mean, figure eight races. Yates County had figure eight races. There was some element of figure eight race at Ontario County. So I know a lot of the county fairs around here have it, but it's not like crazy. You go further into the Midwest, they figure eight race IMCA cars.
yes.
Yeah.
They get crazy with those.
We've actually entertained the idea of having V8, figure eight, but you just need the big enough track to do it. Like, you need room to swing those around and get around the 8. So we just have to find a space that's big enough. And right now we don't have a venue that is big enough to have that V8 figure eight.
And you need a really hard track too.
Yeah,
right?
and you need a hard track. You don't want to be stuck down in the dirt and spinning your tires. No one has fun.
No.
So, but
Yeah, we've never. I mean, like I said, we've had some decent car numbers for it at Waterloo, but they do like a double inverted 8. It's kind of weird how
It's not an inverted 8. The inverted 8 is where the track was like, it looked like the hourglass. That's what they used to have at Weedsport back in the day.
Yeah, crazy 8s.
Yeah,
they call those.
They don't have that. They just have a third tire in the middle.
Yeah, so you just gotta go around
Yeah.
and around.
Yeah.
And it gets really, really confusing because sometimes they put the tire down upside down, so you got the arrows going wrong.
Oh.
it gets real
confusing fast.
real interesting. And there was a couple years where the starting line, they would do a parade lap and they would start, but when they came back around for the S's, the starting line was on the wrong side of the track.
Yeah.
So the scoring gets very creative.
We did that last year when we had our young bucks versus the old guys. So we had Jeffy had called us and said, you got to do something for Reg. You got to do something like some kind of cool idea to have the old figure eight guys, the legends,
And the legends against the young
the
rookies.
young rookies that are coming up and running. So we had this, but we kind of tricked them up. So we had the 3 legends and the 3 rookies, and we had them starting where they normally start and do their figure eight. So the second lap, we're like, they're all getting ready to, second race, they're all getting ready to line up. And we're like, no. We're going over the other side to start on the other side. And they were
If
like,
you're the best, you gotta be able to adapt.
yeah. So, and they were all like, what? No,
Yeah, so
no.
now you're racing it backwards.
Yeah, so they had to go backwards and adjust everything that they're used to, and
The
it
rookies
was
knew what they were doing because the legends didn't have a chance. sorry, Reg, they outschooled you. They blocked you in.
but thanks to like having that amazing relationship with Jeffy, we've like put some of these really cool things. Like even when we bounced the idea of the Mad Dog Invitational, when Devon was talking to Jeff about the Mad Dog Invitational and inviting all of the Mad Dogs to run a heat at the end of the year, and you had to win to get in and stuff. If we didn't have that collaboration with Fab Farm, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff we do. And now we're still doing it again this year, and it's very stressful, let me tell you. When we went to have that Mad Dog Invitational, and you have a heat of 20 pro compacts that are all Mad Dog drivers, and they're all going for the ultimate Mad Dog, you're like, oh my
It was
God,
like
my insurance.
7 minutes and it was full weld Camrys, garbage.
Yeah.
Like garbage.
So
you guys are doing a lot. We've had 3 or 4 promoters the last couple of years that have really stepped up and tried to bring the standalone shows. Kings of Old School was a major player in that. Lake Erie Rumble was big for out in the western part of the state. And then after Kings of Old School, we had Road Rage and Spinning Wheels. Spinning Wheels is doing a lot to try and move things along.
raise the bar.
You're right, and getting down with like what TJ's doing, what Frankie's doing, and the facelift of Iron City, and trying to apply that stuff. You guys are doing that same kind of thing, and pulling Ontario up into some of the modern times. But there's some kicking and screaming, some fight back to it. But
Some of the drivers and even the promoters and stuff, they don't want change. Like, who likes change? No one likes change.
Brian?
right? So, Brian, you love change, right?
I love change. I got some in my pocket.
But, when you walk in and you kind of shake up things that people aren't used to,
Yeah, like just changing rules, like the rules alone, like some of the drivers love the different rules, and there's a lot of guys who are like, well, I don't want to do that. Well, you don't have to, but like these are the rules and this is the way it's going to be. But like some of the guys, because I open up a little bit to get some creativity. I bring the rules from shows that I've ran that I really enjoy. That Ontario's never done. I've never seen cars built this way in Ontario, so I bring it up and then they try it, and some of the drivers are loving it.
Yeah.
Like this shortening, like that was never happening in compacts before.
yeah.
So we allow that, and some of the guys are absolutely head over heels for it. Some guys don't like it. But
It's nice when we have a
not for
team
everybody.
like Daniel LeBlanc, like Rick Lewis, who's ran Blizzard Bash, and
You're not doing double figure eights, right?
no,
no,
You're not.
no.
It's just standard figure.
just a regular one.
And when you have like Reg Bonneau, they're all like current builders that build very well, and they run shows stateside. So we can take what we
And we run
love,
currently.
what we love about building in the States and rules in the States and things that we love about shows in the States, and we bring it into our standalone shows and even to our fair shows. And we want people to experience in Ontario what we've experienced coming down here and running. And they don't get to experience that. So it's nice to have that opportunity and bring some of those changes and those rules and
Like
different
in Ontario,
things.
there's a handful of drivers that have crossed the border to
Yeah.
drive. There's really not a whole lot. So when we can bring certain aspects of the American Derby up, like they feel like it's a huge show. Like I've had a lot of drivers comment that to me. So, oh, it's the biggest show I'll ever run. Like, well, no, you can. It's an introduction.
Yeah.
You can go
And now,
further.
and now we have the Canadian Invasion coming down to Bash this year. Like we have,
That's awesome.
I think we have
It's
what,
like
40
or something.
40 drivers that have registered. It's kind of
awesome.
like the minivan heat at Bash is going to be an all Canadian heat, I think. 'cause
It'll be a good time then.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's like that's where they've all decided to run and kind of go into. So it's going to be interesting. So
Something I think you guys have done, and I think will continue doing, is I think that promoters are becoming more willing to work with drivers. You know what I mean? Like you guys are bringing new stuff to Canada, but like you're not alienating the guys that don't, or the drivers that don't want to change or
No.
don't. You know what I mean? You're opening up more eyes and you're opening up more classes, and that's. I was talking with Jeremy Gully here. I don't know, it was within the last couple months, and we were just talking about classes going into next year and this and that, and he's like, this class, it started out. I had a lot of cars, but he's like, I get down and I only have 4 or 5 cars, and he's like, I pay because I said I was going to pay, but he's like, I'm not getting the support, so we're going to have to get rid of that class. But this class is picking up because this class is full every heat, and it's good to see because they kind of driver promoters are figuring, they're working with the drivers and they're giving the drivers, what they want, the different builds. And
Well, if you don't give the drivers what they want, you don't have a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to make as many drivers as happy as possible. It's not easy all the time,
Yeah.
but and when drivers give you feedback, you have to take it and try to make as many happy as you can. Like every single bit of feedback we get, we listen to every single bit.
Yeah.
Because we can't better ourselves unless
Yeah.
we hear the good and the bad.
Yep.
Like
And
I want to
that's-
hear what you like and what you don't like, so
Yeah.
I can fix it next time.
Yes. And that's, and that helps everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
there's definitely, but that's something, that we've just seen in the last few years is guys are working together. And you know what else I saw over the weekend? And this is kind of different, but the same.
Dead deer pictures on Facebook?
Yeah, definitely.
a lot of those.
A lot of those. But
Nice
no,
bucks.
I mentioned PRI, and all the major promoters for the late models, Outlaws, Lucas, and there was another big name, all had a big meeting. And they're working to try to get their rules a little closer together so they can,
That's
have some-
huge.
They can have some, shows together and so on and so forth. And I hopefully someday
Patriots
that's,
have similar rules so that they can.
Yeah.
URC too. They have challenge shows.
yeah, that would be something, nice to work to eventually in Derby.
It's
We're
it's
getting
nice
closer
when
to
you have promoters that are willing to work together
Yeah.
and willing
Hold
to.
Hold that thought just 1 second here. Jeffy, I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on the show. I gotta let you go.
No, that's cool. Sorry, my earbuds died and I had a really hard time hearing everybody, so I apologize if I wasn't interjecting too much there the last little bit.
No, you're fine.
It's all right. No sweat. I'll catch up with you soon.
Sometime we'll do a FaceTime or something, but appreciate coming on, and I will talk to you guys later.
All right.
Have a good one, Jeffy.
Bye, Jeffy.
Bye.
Yeah, so it's nice having, some promoters being able to talk. We recently just put up a big post about wanting the drivers to give us information about what they want to see with our rules and different changes. And they put a lot of feedback in, and we took all of that feedback and we looked at some of the different promoters in our area and what their rule set was. And we had a conversation with one of our local promoters, and we changed a couple of our rules to be a little bit closer to theirs, so that way drivers can go from our show to their show. Now
We had a quite a long meeting during the week.
Yeah.
Just bouncing ideas around, and we both agreed that it's best for the drivers.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, there's shows all over Ontario on any given weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't want to drive 2 hours away, you can drive a show that's maybe 45 minutes down the road that your car may now fit that rule, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Frankie had a big meeting over the
Yes,
weekend with
I
a
saw that.
bunch of drivers and welders, and
That's
that
going
was
to happen at the Expo too.
yeah,
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
pretty neat to see. So he's been working pretty hard. I see on his rules and getting stuff ready, and had the meeting with the drivers.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I think, didn't Bo used to do that when he was promoting?
Yeah.
Well, didn't he have a meeting
He
with
did,
the drivers
actually.
like once
Bo-
a season?
Yeah. And then we have a lot of a couple promoters that are in Southern Ontario that really like our rules and use our rules as well, like Jason Dixon and stuff for Dresden. So it's nice to take his team cars and our team cars, and they can kind of go from one show to the other. And it really works when you have them working together and doing that, right? Because the worst thing is when you build a car, and you know what it's like, and then you have to cut it apart to go to the next show, and it's a pain
Or
in
you
the
get to the
ass.
show and you don't want to do anything to
Yeah.
it, and next thing you know, it's I could have added all this steel.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, we've been seeing a little bit more of some of the county fairs, not so much, but at least the standalone shows out here working together, and we're starting to see a little bit of that back and forth with some of the national promoters too. And you guys, it was only about 2 years ago that we started talking about being first-time promoters, and
Yeah.
and now another guy from the history books of Crash Course lore, Ron McClung, is jumping into the promotership for next year, looking to help resurrect the Billy Bash show. Ron's joining us here on the line. He started getting a little bit nervous. Didn't know if we were going to get to him or not. But there's Ron. Ron, man, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Chris?
I'm all right. How's your birthday?
I had a smashing good day.
So Billy Bash is a show that ended up getting a lot of attention, a lot of traction. It was a show that everybody looked forward to up there in Canada, and now you've got the opportunity to help bring that back to prominence. And that's going to be up at the beginning of July, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So what's this mean to you to be able to get this show back on the calendar?
It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and this show is more about the drivers and putting on a big show for the crowd. And it's more than just smashing cars. It's whole family entertainment.
Right, that was a thrill show format before, right?
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened for it's been at least 10 years, right?
It's been a long time.
well, yeah, because Billy Bash hasn't ran since I've been with Devon, and we've been together 10 years. So yeah, it was before my time in the Derby world.
I mean, how does this show come back to life? We always talk about the county fairs and stuff. When they go away, they don't typically come back, and it really makes some waves when you see a place get a show back, kind of like what you guys were able to do last year, and breaking into some of the circle tracks and getting some traction there, and returning that. Ron, how does this thing come back to life?
It's just because it's something I really want to do, and it's going to take a lot of effort. But so far, everything's been very positive. I've got lots of good people behind me. I think we got a good rule set for the cars, and there's a lot of drivers that are very excited to come and run. And the prize money's very good, and there's going to be 5-foot trophies, good Mad Dog prizes, and we have longest haul awards. Some really good partners are coming on board.
In terms of the payout, let me back that up. Have registrations opened up yet?
No, that'll happen anytime soon.
Okay. And
We're just working with Devon's rules there for the compact cars and the trucks to kind of work together so everybody can reuse their vehicles at different shows.
I mean, we got to kind of take a moment to acknowledge the fact that that's happening, right? That's
Absolutely.
That's the working together thing that you guys were talking about. The fact that this model is going to work.
Yeah, it's hard to like. We've never really seen that in Ontario, right? Because every promoter's always been
Very different.
their own rule set, and they've just never really worked out. So seeing promoters willing to work with the drivers, like and Ron asking to work with us for the rule set, it really only benefits the drivers.
Yeah, and it's all for the drivers. And we had Ron and Brian both came and teched with us last year. They helped us with Impact. They came and teched a couple of our shows. And when Ron announced the Billy Bash, we were ecstatic. And first thing we did was reach out and say, hey, if you need any help, if you need anything, by all means. Devin's like, I hope he doesn't ask me to tech. I want to run. But so we let Ron know that we're 100% support him behind it. And I think a ton of our crew is actually looking forward to, supporting Billy Bash. So
There'll be a lot of Impact cars on the track, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going for the Mad Dog there?
You're not going to not.
I do like
Devin has a bunch of really, really heavy builds just before that show.
Yeah, it's a busy beginning of the year.
Like he's running that Pro Stock and Bash. He's running the Reaper Invitational, which is going to be a really heavy build. Right. So chances are he's probably only going to be running like figure 8 or something like that. But who knows? A derby may break out in the middle of a figure 8.
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. There might be a Mad Dog in a figure 8. We've done that once.
Oh boy,
we've awarded one.
Yeah.
In terms of promoters working together in rule meetings, Jake just posted that there's an ugly sweater party on Saturday. 4 promoters talk about 2022. It's the stadium in Oxford, 6 o'clock, and it's open to all. So if you're not doing anything Saturday, come down and jump in the meeting.
There you go.
In your spare time.
Yeah.
When you guys were first starting out, there was a learning curve.
Oh yeah.
You had to get acclimated to it, and now you're the grizzled veterans that are looking at taking on 40 derbies. Which, side note, that's insane.
No, what was insane was taking one derby and having it cancel 4 days before the derby and creating an entire standalone show within 24 hours. That was insane. Devin, after we got canceled, Devin said, I cannot allow our drivers I can't just cancel and refund them. Like, there's not a chance.
Nope.
And I said, okay, well, are we going to do this? And we talked to our crew, and our crew says, yeah, let's do this. We'll do this. And I'm like, great. That means I have a lot of work. So we, you know what, we couldn't have pulled that together if it wasn't for our team. Our team was amazing. And to put a standalone show where you're responsible for everything, right down to the porta potties, like that was a learning curve. And if we can do that in 24 hours, which usually takes months to do, you can do anything. That's the way I look at it.
We have faith in Ron's going to pull off a pretty awesome weekend show.
Now, where in Canada is this show going to be?
It's in Burford, Ontario. Long-standing fairgrounds. I actually won Burford Fair back in 1984, and it's a dedicated derby pit with cement blocks.
I was 10.
wasn't even thought of then.
I was 10. I was 10 years old in '84. In case anybody's wondering.
Well, I was older than you. I'm the oldest in the room. I'll be quiet.
What car did you have there?
It was a round back wagon I won with.
Did you junk it after one run?
Yes, sir.
I saved it. There was 10 more where that came from. I saved one. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Back then, they were $100 a piece.
Yeah. Don't you wish you had those wagons right now to resell, Ronnie?
Every one of them.
Or to maybe get more than one run out of them?
Oh, that too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know. Ronnie's been known to get a Mad Dog here or there too. Sometimes he
junks
junks
stuff.
stuff.
Where Ron's got leftovers for a second run.
Yeah,
he
that
got
doesn't
a Mad
happen
Dog.
often.
The last Mad Dog, didn't you, Ronnie? The last Mad Dog you got was in Vegas, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was.
I would have got Mad Dog last weekend. I was told that if I had headers on my 4.6, they would have heard me.
It's not that much work, Ron. Put them on.
So, can we talk about your car from last weekend?
No problem.
So that car, if I'm not mistaken, is the car that got trailered at Clinton, was it not?
That's correct.
Yeah. So that was us. We were bad. We unfortunately trailered Ronnie and Clinton. Not something we
made
ever
it
want to
easier
do.
for his Tennessee show. He didn't have to build a car. We're helping you out, Ronnie.
Everybody favorite.
Yeah.
We were thinking of you. Yeah. Not something we ever want to do as a
It
promoter.
broke my heart doing that.
Yeah. But
I would have really rather have junked it in Clinton because I'm.
well, you towed it to Tennessee.
Was Clinton Fair, so but I'm so super glad that I did make the trip to White Pine, Tennessee.
Yep.
I had a really good time, and it's funny how my car magically appeared in the States. So I didn't take it with me, but
Interesting.
I had a lot of fun down there.
So, tell me a little bit about that run in its own right. You know, traditionally, you show up places underbuilt. Traditionally, there isn't anything left to run a second time. I can't really think of the last time you had a car that got 2 runs out of it. How was the run overall?
I've had a couple cars that made 2 runs with my son welding a little plate here and a little plate there, and he got to junk them after I was done with them.
Yeah, he's
But,
he's got a son that's a pretty good builder.
Brian's pretty decent. Yeah.
So is this something that's going to go? Is this a one-night only thing or one-time only thing with Billy Bash coming back? Is this going to have legs? Is this Ron
No,
McClung
it's
getting out
a
of the
3-day
car?
derby, and the Friday night will open up with figure 8 racing, and there'll be heats and feature. And I also, at a request of the drivers, they wanted to have a B feature so that they get more than 1 run out of their car. So anybody who loses has another opportunity to come and win money. So, and when the figure 8 racing's done, I got a Tragically Hip tribute band playing called Almost Hip, and should be a really good time. And there's no charge for that; it's free at the grandstand. And then we got most of the heats and standalone feature heats will be on Saturday, and then consies and the features will be on Sunday. There'll be fireworks Saturday night and camping all weekend long.
Is this your prelude to getting out of the car as a driver and moving into the promotership, and soon you're going to have 5 or 6 shows a year?
I have no intention of getting out of the car.
That was a silly question.
I hope to be buried in the derby car one way or another.
Well,
I can make that happen.
Yeah, okay. No, I'll never give up derbies. It's been my whole life, and whatever way I can be of help and grow the sport and continue on in the sport, that's what I'm going to do.
I think that's cool.
Absolutely.
So, the rule set, is it going to be like? Is there going to be a Ron McClung class where all the cars have to be built on site within 24 hours?
That's next year.
What about that Legends Heat, Ron? Tell us a little more about that.
The Legends Heat is up in the air. I'm trying to get some of the old guys that used to run just a stock car with no welding, weld the bumper shocks, weld the rear end gears, and come out and run one heat with an old iron car.
You're too young, Devon.
I know I'm too young, but I love seeing the old guys get back into it. Like when I got my dad back into driving after like 15 years of being on the sidelines, it was awesome seeing the old man get back in.
Right.
And now,
Smile on
now
his
he's
face.
hooked again.
Yeah.
Hopefully get enough interest to run a 10 or 15 car heat. I hope there's a bunch of guys out there that want to come out and play. So.
Are you going to do a age limit, like 50 and up?
No, not really. Not necessarily 50 and up, but if there's a guy that's got 20, 25 years and he's 48 or 49, I won't turn him away.
Oh, I'm close.
So,
Man, I'd be qualified.
but,
Ryan's
maybe we
legend.
get Butch Sisko to
Not a
come
legend,
across the
I'd
border.
qualified.
What was that about?
Man,
Butch?
certainly a legend.
Oh, Butch.
Yeah, Butch is definitely a legend.
I would love
I
to see
friggin'
Butch
love
up here.
Butch.
Yeah.
Devin had the honor of running with Butch last year, and it was awesome. Like, I just loved when he got out of the car and
he is a
hugged
legend.
Butch. That picture is one of my favorite pictures.
What was that about the board?
I do have interest from some Americans coming up to run. So Steve Bucknam Jr., he's already coming up to run a V8 car.
What's the border has opened up more now, or not as much, or does anybody know?
So the border's technically
If you're
open.
fully vaccinated and you got a COVID pass card, you're welcome to cross the borders. But apparently, you have to get a rapid test 72 hours before crossing. So either way, as far as I know.
All right.
Yeah, but
It changes daily.
It is technically open. Like,
Gotcha.
the passenger lanes are open now.
Gotcha.
So, Hank Pensek is in the chat.
Oh, Hank.
Hank's a legend. He can run it.
I want to see Hank up here.
We want Hank at our shows.
I think that's where this question is going. Actually, he wants an idea of what to expect bringing a car over the border. Do you need titles? Do you need anything special
Nope.
besides an enhanced license and a passport?
Nope.
So bringing a car over is probably one of the simplest things ever. I remember the very first time when Devon went to run Bash, and we were scared shitless to cross the border. And we called Dustin Ingram, and we're like, Dustin, what do we got to do? What should we be prepared for? And Dustin's like, just drive to the border.
Just bring the car with
Just
you.
bring the car with you. And honestly, we've never, except for the mud, we've never had an issue with crossing into the
They
States.
know
And we've
the
never
car's
had
not
an
going back
issue.
on the road.
Yeah, we've never had an issue crossing back into Canada except for the mud situation, but that's a whole different story.
The only thing they ever ask is, are you bringing the car back with you? Yep. All right, then have fun. Because
Yeah.
they just don't want you to leave it here, which it's scrap metal. Who cares? But
Yeah.
Yeah, so as
They
long
aren't
as
going to
you have-
remember you in a week when you come back
No.
anyways.
we
It's-
all have enough money into our cars. We're not leaving them there anyways.
Yeah. So as long as you have a passport and you're allowed to cross the border, so you don't have any, felonies. Then you should be able to come across and no problem at all. And we're only 10 minutes from Buffalo, so we live right across the border.
Hank's
so
not far from us.
Yeah.
So
Hank
hopefully
knows.
Hopefully him,
He
Jack,
knows.
and AJ, they all come up. That'd be awesome.
yeah,
Eric Remington's got to get up there.
he does. He's
Didn't
actually
he retire? How
well.
many times now?
Listen,
We'd love to have Epi and Remy and
give it a little bit of time. We'll be able to talk him into it.
He'll have to buy everything again.
Well, that's last year. I saw Hammer and Hank at Bash, and he gave me a hug, and we talked. And this is it. One more car, and I'm done. I'm not gonna. I'm like,
yeah.
That's what they
okay,
all
Hank.
say.
And now he's
All
building
right.
for what, Dead Man, and
Yeah.
that's what
Okay,
they all
Hank.
say. One more.
Ron, you ever had any trouble getting across the border with a car?
No, not with a car, just with parts.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that. That's
Just not having matching paperwork or a receipt from who I was taking the parts to, because they weren't sold yet, because I had the parts and he had the money.
right.
Yeah, the border's very, very stingy on paperwork. So as long as your paperwork is in order, then you don't have a problem. But the second that you don't have something that they're asking for, that's when you have a problem.
Like when we went to Bash this year,
Oh,
we called. They're like, "Oh, you have to have all these forms and all that." And we called the Canadian side and the American side, printed all these forms off, filled them out, hand the passports in, hand the paperwork in. Like, what do you want me to do with that? Well, they said we needed that. I don't need that. Okay.
and then we got the guy on a bad day, and we got hauled in to secondary, and we had to show them everything. Like I even had to show them our tax filings to show that we had a legitimate business and we're crossing commercial, and we already have
Well, that
like
was this year because
that was this year.
we had crossed commercially.
So and that was like, we have our DTOPs, we have our CC, like we have everything that you need to cross commercially, and we had to show them like our legitimate website and our business cards, which we never carry our business cards, and that was the first time we put them in the truck. So that was interesting, and we had to show them like our tax. I had to pull up our taxes to show them what we file: business income tax, corporate tax
But again,
with our corporation.
You show them everything they ask for. There's never
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah, I know we pick the race cars up in St. Catharines, then I come across. And I know one time we came across with the paperwork, and they x-rayed the trailer, and then that was
Yep.
Yeah.
on the way we went. It wasn't
And it's
bad.
probably just a
Yeah.
random search, not a big deal. You
Yeah.
drive through that little tunnel or a little machine, and away you go.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't do well with the border.
Can't handle stress, eh?
At one point, the guy goes, "Why are you so nervous?" I'm like, "Because I don't like doing this." He goes, "Well, you gotta."
Just answer the question.
Either that or you get on an airboat and go across the river. I've heard of that happening too.
I've never heard of that.
We'll float you across on a dinghy.
Nope. I like the border a little bit more than I like deep water. Not a huge fan either.
I like driving across the big bridge
Nope.
in Niagara Falls. That's
Isn't
a
it
good
great?
time. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we love it too. We're so glad that it's opening up a little bit more. I know that the commercial side of things, there's going to be some more restrictions implemented in January, and I think January 22nd, they're actually supposed to be double vaxxed in order to cross back into Canada commercially. So they're putting a lot more restrictions in place, but
But it's open.
but it's open. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
we
that's a
can,
start.
we're here because it's open. So that's a nice thing.
Yep.
we get to come and hang out with our friends. That's all that matters.
Jake Sherman said the reason why you're nervous is because you carry boxes of wires everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Not wrong.
True.
Yeah. Every time we fly, and Chris carries all this stuff. He gets the what is it, the paperwork,
TSA.
Yes.
is inspecting your bag.
everywhere. We got one from
Because
every
you have these
airport.
like tons of like wires all wrapped up in your bag. It looks like little snakes.
Like, I've been on a plane probably 20 times, and I've always randomly come up.
TSA. We were going out to Winter Slam one year, and of course it's a winter derby in Minnesota, so we dress warm. So I had my hunting boots on. They're the warmest boots I have. And we're at the Rochester airport.
Brian loves this story.
And we're doing something. I go to Chris. I go, I should have washed the blood off my boots.
Oh my God.
And Chris's face went like whiter than this. Oh, it was amazing. And he looks at me, and I'm like, what? They're my hunting boots. I just, sent them up there, and they looked at me funny, but they never said a word. They never looked at the boots. Chris was not happy at that moment.
They had a hard time getting back from Blizzard Bash, actually, because they were traveling.
because of stupid test stuff.
They were traveling personally, not commercially. So the four of them had a bit of a trouble getting back because of the test, and they went and got their tests on Saturday to fly Monday, and the test results weren't back.
They got back Thursday.
They came back Thursday. They were already home. So they're like calling me. I'm in Canada. Hey, Kristi, what are you going to do about this? So I'm on the phone with CBS yelling at them to get a rush put on all four of their tests, and I'm trying to get the results, and they're like, well, we're not going to pull them. I'm like, what are they supposed to do? Well, it can take up to 5 days. And I'm like, well, they have to fly, and results have to be within 72 hours. And they're just down there.
We ran to a hospital with an Uber.
Yeah, they went to the hospital and got it done at the
They got it back to
hospital.
us in 2 hours, and then our flight was delayed 3 times, and we still literally ran through the airport with no shoes on, no belts on, and just made the plane before it left the gate.
We usually get the belts or the shoes on, but we've ran through many.
We didn't have time. We did not have time.
Ron doesn't have to deal with any of these problems. He takes a car every place he goes. He's all driving. There's no, right, Ron? I mean, you got the easy life towing cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, full of parts.
Where can people find out more about this? Have you got a website or a dedicated Facebook page or anything that's out there? I know you sent the promotional flyer for Billy Bash.
Yeah, we made a Facebook group, I Am Demolition, and my son Brian has posted most of the rules up on there. And there's lots of activity, and he's getting lots of messages, and there's certainly lots of interest.
That's good to hear. I mean, we've talked a bunch of times about how derbies just don't come back, and to have one that was this big on the landscape in Ontario overall to come back it's a cool thing to see.
It was the biggest in its time, the Billy Bash, that's for sure. So to see it come back, it's a pretty big deal.
Like when Ron made the announcement of Billy Bash, people were pulling out their memorabilia and they were posting all their like shirts and their posters and
awesome.
And all that sort of stuff and their stickers on their toolbox, and it's a big thing. Like it's really great that they're being able to do that, and Ron's reviving that. So and I think Ontario needs some more promoters that are stepping up and having those big shows and bringing
Ron's
that.
ran every single Billy Bash, so who better to take it over, right?
Yeah.
Built a car at every single Billy Bash.
I ran every single Billy Bash. I won most of the classes except for the hard pro class. That's about it. So
couldn't ask for a better promoter for it.
Yeah, but it's going to be mostly about the drivers and the fans, and there'll be a whole lot of fun. I hired that Monster Jam announcer, Doug Denance.
Okay.
So it'll be pretty exciting to listen to his voice, and he'll carry the show.
Oh, he's quite the announcer. I've heard him scream my name a couple times.
Yes.
He's electrifying, that guy.
He gives you chills when he announces your name. It's interesting. Doug's an awesome announcer.
Well, that's
awesome. We got a bunch of food trucks coming, and we got awesome organization with the Burford Fairgrounds. We got 4 Bobcats to clear out all the dead cars from the Derby pit, and it'll keep the action moving. On site, we got an Allegiant that'll have a beer tent up and ice cold beer available, and should be a really good time. Lots to do for everybody. There's a Kid Power Wheels Derby and Kids Fun Zone. So getting bigger and bigger every day. More and more people get involved.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that, and I wish you the best of luck on it. That was I Am Demolition on Facebook. If you want to find out more about the return of Blizzard Bash here in 2022, Ron McClung going to be...
Billy Bash.
What did I say?
You said
Blizzard
Blizzard
Bash.
Bash.
That's okay.
Sorry. Billy Bash. I'm sorry.
10 concussions, don't worry about it.
Yep.
Right on.
Ron, we'll catch up with you. We'll catch up with you again as we get a little bit closer and see how things are progressing on it.
Right on. Thanks, Chris.
I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, bye now.
Bye now. And then if you want to know more about the 77 derbies that Devon and Kristi are putting on, you can jump online. Just track down Impact Motorsports. Everything's fully shifted over there now, right?
Yeah, so everything's on you can go on our website, impactmotorsports.ca. We'll start getting our schedule ready to go. Probably not releasing that until February. We have a huge fair conference in February on our Family Day weekend, which is February 17th, 18th. So once we get that done and sign actual contracts and get them in hand, we'll probably start posting some information about those fairs.
Everybody can start planning out their year.
Yeah, and everyone can start planning out their year. And our rules will be up this week with all of our changes. Devon went live today and let people know that we're not taking anything away. We're adding and enhancing the rules based on their feedback. So drivers should be happy with what has been given.
Well, we had the whole crew sit down for a good meeting too. I printed off every single comment, and we discussed it. And like I said, we did our best to make the best set of rules for everybody.
Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that'll be up this week on impactmotorsports.ca. But you can jump over onto Facebook as well on Impact Motorsports Facebook page and follow us along. And all the information's there. I post probably way too much, way a lot. So, but that's okay. I don't care. If people get sick of it, they can just put me on mute.
Just want to make a quick mention online, jeffysfabfarm.com. We've been talking a lot about Jeffy's parts, multi-fit shifters, lots of experience in terms of putting everything together. Started in 06 with the rear ends, expanded to headers in 08, specializing in those LS conversions and conversion components. Jump online for additional details. If you need it, it's on the farm, jeffysfabfarm.com. Also, you got to check out his website.
jeffysfabfarm.com.
The Facebook page. He's got the new mascot.
Fabby.
Yeah, Fabby. Pretty cool.
And then also we talked about the expo. It's going to be at Smith Metalworks, smithmetalworks.info, in-person locations for pickup in Mercer, Uniontown, Bethlehem, all-purpose fabrication shop, and they have all of it. Odds and ends such as distributor clamps, welding centers, GM floor liners, door skins, engine mounting systems, pedals, combos, and shifters. They've also got the super stock bumper. Make sure you get online and check out smithmetalworks.info. That is going to do it. We appreciate it. We're over on time. I looked at the clock a minute ago, and we've got stuff that's going on here that we got to make way for. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks again for making the trip up. Of course, always good to catch up with you guys. Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having us.
Of course,
Thank you.
for sure. Brian, we'll do it again next week.
Okay. As long as you don't fire me.
Episode 380 in the books. We'll see you next time.
The Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.